Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Flower Cardian deck profile. Now this deck is a really interesting deck that special summons a whole heck of a lot of monsters really fast and can chug out a 5,000 beater super fast with super walls of text. Now this deck, I'm going to try and dumb this deck down as quickly as possible for you guys so you guys can understand it. It's a fairly complicated deck that you just basically want to keep drawing and drawing and drawing and special summoning Flower Cardians until you get your tuner on the field, and then you want to synchro summon into one of your Flower Cardian monsters. In a nutshell, that's basically how the Flower Cardians play. Now we do play a couple of Link monsters in here that can kind of help us get even more of our synchro monsters on the field, so let's get straight on into it. They really need to give this deck a Link monster. I think it would be awesome. So before we get into this, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell down there so you can become a part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. And if you are part of the notification squad, I definitely will give you guys a heart if you comment down below. So we're going to be playing 3 copies of Flower Cardian Pine. If this card is normal summoned, you get to draw a card, show it, then send it to the grave if it's a flower card, unless it's a Flower Cardian monster. You can only use the effect of Flower Cardian Pine once per turn, and if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, or if it leaves the field because it's in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to your grave, you get to draw an additional card. So it's a really good opener to open up Flower Cardian Pine. Usually I start by normal summoning this and then draw, and then I'll use another Flower Cardian's effect, special summon itself, and then you go from there. But this is the one that you normally normal summon. So let me play 3 copies of Flower Cardian Cherry Blossom with Curtain. The Flower Cardian Cherry Blossom with Curtains effect is that I'm going to have to squeeze these over because I'm going to have so many Flower Cardians on this screen. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by its own effect. You can reveal this card in your hand, draw a card, then if you do, show it, then special summon this card if the drawn card was a Flower Cardian monster. Otherwise, send the card that you drew to the grave, or send this card to the grave. During the player's damage step, when a Flower Cardian monster battles an opponent's monster, you can discard this card. Your battling monster gains 1,000 attack. So it's basically like a hand trap as well, and it lets you draw cards to special summon it out. That's the way that the majority of them go, is you draw a card, and if it's not a Flower Cardian, then you don't get to special summon it. So that's why we play so many Flower Cardians in this deck. So the next card that we're going to be playing 3 of is Flower Cardian Clover with Boar. Clover with Boar's effect is that cannot be normal summoned or set. Same thing. You have to special summon this card by attributing 1 Flower Cardian monster except another copy of itself. And if this card is special summoned, draw a card. And if you do, show it. And if it's Flower Cardian, destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. Otherwise, send it to the grave. The same thing goes for Flower Cardian Maple with Deer, except Maple with Deer goes with the spells and traps. So you get to tribute a Flower Cardian, special summon this card, and then after you special summon it, you draw a card, show it. If it's a Flower Cardian, then you get to pop a spell or trap on the field. Otherwise, send it to the grave. So the next 3 that we're going to play is 3 copies of Flower Cardian Zebragrass. Zebragrass's ability is that while you control a level 7 or lower Flower Cardian monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You cannot normal summon or set monsters for the rest of the turn except Flower Cardian. So we don't play anything for Flower Cardian, so that's not a big deal. Then, if this card is normal or special summon, you can reveal any number of Flower Cardian monsters in your hand, shuffle them into the deck, then draw the same amount of cards. So it kind of mulligans your hand so you can get the Flower Cardians from your deck that you need to continue your plays. The next one we play is, in my opinion, my favorite artwork of them all, and that's Flower Cardian Willow, which actually is Giant Trunade on the card. While you control a level 10 or lower Flower Cardian monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot normal summon or special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except Flower Cardians. Once per turn, you can target a Flower Cardian monster in your grave, shuffle it into the deck, and then draw a card. So they really help you out by letting you just constantly keep drawing and drawing. It's a very draw-heavy deck. You basically play until you draw a spell or trap that you can't use, and that's how they play. I mean that's essentially Flower Cardians. Then I play 3 copies of Flower Cardian Pomelo? I don't know. I always mispronounce this one. Well, you control a level 11 or lower Flower Cardian monster. You cannot normal summon or set. You can special summon this card from your hand, and then its added effect is that when this card is targeted for an attack, you can negate the attack in the battle phase and then draw a card. Really good card to open with if you want to get it on the field really quickly to do some, just kind of stall out your opponent. The last 2 Flower Cardians we're going to play is Flower Cardian Panay with Butterfly, and Flower Cardian Willow with Calligraphy. Or whatever. These two are the tuners, and it cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned for your hand. This is this one. By attributing a Flower Cardian monster. And then if this card is, you can look at the top three cards of your opponent's deck, place them back in any order, and then otherwise send to the grave you drew a Flower Cardian. And then when this card is used for Synchro material, all monsters that is used in the Synchro material are treated as level 2 instead of their actual levels. Same thing goes with this, but to summon this one, you have to tribute a level 11 Flower Cardian monster, which is going to be your Willow right here. You're going to have to tribute this to summon this one right here. And then it has the added effect of when it's used for Synchro material, all the monsters become level 2. So that's the way you basically summon out your Flower Cardian Synchro monsters, is you get a bunch of them on the field and you just count it up, like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then you Synchro all the way up to 10. But it takes 5 monsters to get into the 10. But it's easy to special summon them, as you're hearing. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. I probably didn't explain those tuners very well, but you kind of got to read those tuners. They're a little bit different, but the main thing that you have to remember about the tuners is that they make all monsters level 2 if you're going to Synchro Summon. And you pretty much are only going to Synchro Summon for Flower Cardians anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So we play 1 copy of Reinforcements of the Army because they're all warrior monsters, and we can add our Pine or the Curtain, Cherry Blossom with Curtain, this one. And they're really good opener cards, both of them, so that's why we play this. I play a Monster Reborn to reborn our Synchro monsters, basically. That's the big thing. And then all of them say if they must first be special summoned. So if you special summon them correctly, you can use this to revive them if you need like a little bit of an extension. Then I play 3 copies of Flower Cardian Gathering. Flower Cardian Gathering lets you special summon 4 Flower Cardian monsters with 100 attack and defense, or 100 attack, with different names from your deck in attack position, but they have their effects negated. Also cannot be tributed for tribute summon. You can only use the effect of Flower Cardian Gathering once per turn, and you cannot normal summon or set monsters other than for the rest of the turn, other than monsters during the turn. You can activate this card except Flower Cardian monsters. So that's not a big deal. You're usually going to synchro into a monster with Flower Cardian Gathering. I'm glad that I had that clause in it, or this would have been really broken for link summoning. Then we play Recardination. You get to target 1 Flower Cardian monster in your grave, add it to your hand, then you get to special summon a Flower Cardian monster from your hand, ignoring summoning conditions. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, or if this card is sent to the graveyard by a Flower Cardian monster's effect, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, you get to add one of the excavated spells from your deck to your hand, and then replace the remaining ones back in the deck in any order. This is a really good card to put, like, one of your other Flower Cardians to stack your deck so you can do what you need to do. Speaking of stacking, we're going to play 3 copies of Flower Cardian, or Flower Stacking. Flower Stacking lets you choose 3 Flower Cardians with different names from your deck and place them on top of your deck in any order. And during your main phase, except the turn this was sent to the graveyard, you can banish it from your grave and then target 1 Flower Cardian monster in your grave and add it to your hand, which is pretty cool because it can let you get the cards that you need from the grave back so you can keep playing. Then we play 3 copies of Super Koi Koi. You excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and then special summon as many Flower Cardians among them as possible, ignoring their summoning conditions, which we have a pretty good likelihood because we're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 spells. So we're playing 26 Flower Cardians. So that's a pretty good odds that we're going to get them. But their levels become 2 and they have their effects negated. Banish the remaining cards face down, and if you do, lose 1,000 life points for each card that's not a Flower Cardian. You can banish the card from your grave, tribute 1 monster, special summon 1 Flower Cardian monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning condition. So it like bypasses it so you can special summon your tuner a lot easier instead of having to just tribute that level 11 to do it, which is really great because it can get us into our synchro plays even faster. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. The extra deck is going to be very, very, very simple compared to the main deck. The main deck is a very complicated deck. So we're going to play 3 copies of our Flower Cardian Light Flare. You can go into at least 2 of these in the game, sometimes 3 if you're going to pull it off. Usually you're going to win by then, but you don't really need that many cards in your extra deck anyways. You're just going to kind of go between your Flower Cardian monsters and climb up. So basically it's a 5k body that once returned during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap effect, negate the activation if you do destroy it. It has a couple of other effects on it, but usually you're just going to use it for the 5k body and the spell and trap negation. 3 copies of our Flower Cardian Light Shower. This card is really good and going to be the main one you're going to go for the majority of the time, because it takes 4 Flower Cardians to go into this one. As we go down, it's going to go 5, 4, the next one will be 3, and then 2, and then you can't go any lower than that. I don't think you go into 2. Yeah, you go in. No, you don't go into 2. You don't go into 2. Excuse me. Next 2 are going to be 3s. Basically, this gets an effect during the draw phase. If they, your opponent cannot target Flower Cardian monsters you control with effects, and add the, also those monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects. And during your opponent's draw phase, if they draw, which they can choose from their hand, inflict 1,500 points of damage to your opponent. Once per turn during your opponent's end phase, activate one of these effects. Skip the draw phase of your next turn, or this card has its other effects negated until your opponent's next standby phase. It's a really interesting card. I really like it. It can skip your draw phase, so you get this out and it kind of locks you down, but it inflicts 1,500 points of damage, which is nice. So you can kind of burn your opponent out with this. It was actually used in Arc V in as the boss monster of the one of the guys that was in the jail arc. Then I played 2 copies of Boardifly. Cardian Boardfly. Boardifly is not that great. I mostly go into these. If Flower Cardian monster you control attacks events position monster, you inflict piercing damage, and then once per turn you can target one of your banished Flower Cardian monsters from your graveyard until the end phase of your next standby phase. Your opponent cannot activate cards and effects in the graveyard, and also they cannot special summon monsters from the grave. So you can kind of use this against like Infernoids and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, it's okay. Then I play 2 copies of Flower Cardian Moonflowering View. Once per turn during your main phase, you can draw 1 card, and if you do show it, and if it's Flower Cardian monster, you can special summon it, ignoring summoning conditions, and it can attack directly. If this effect is used, skip the draw phase of your next turn. When this card is synchro summoned, you can treat it as a level 2. So the cool thing about this one is it counts as a tuner and a 2,000 attack point monster, so it's really good for the deck. But it's just an overall good card for the deck. I play a Borrelsaur because I can OTK with it. I play Yugioh because they all count as different names, which is really cool because you can go into Yugioh. 1 is old because everything's warriors, and then 2 Wee Witch because I want to increase their attack just by a little bit. But anyways, guys, that's it for Flower Cardians. I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. I really enjoyed taking this one. I've had this deck for a long time, and I just never really profiled it. It's a good deck, and it's very, 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 very cheap. Like, I mean, you could probably pick this deck up for 20 bucks. Like, it's that cheap. It used to be that cheap when last time I looked it up. But anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys. Oh, and hit the bell.